And yeah, I mean, the thing is like sometimes you have to dream and not look at like the what if it's not going to happen. You know, like like the first time I shot my eyes, I remember just being in awe because it was like, oh my goodness, like you don't know how many nights I thought about like how am I going
If you rule the world.
yeah, yeah, just listen to it. I mean, first time I went to New York, I knew how to maneuver because of the music.
Yeah.
And so growing up, it was just so incredible to see like, my dreams coming true. And then it's like, now at that moment, what are you gonna do? Like the Eminem song is like, you got one shot. So like, what are you gonna do? Like, how are you gonna produce? What are the things like you'll get lost in the moment and you're gonna capture it?
I've heard you say that no one tells you no.
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
That comes because I deal with rejection very well. Very well. I mean, especially growing up in Palo Alto, it's like, you know, you try and you fail fast. So for so long, I had too many people telling me no that I just like fighting and pushing through to, you know, get the things that I hope for, and the beauty of it is like when no one tells you no, people are going to tell you no all the time. But it's like, how do you take it? Is it going to stop you from doing that? Like the thing in our field is having access to certain subjects and things like that. But you got security telling you no, you got people telling you. And I think what's helped me is to produce a product that allows me to get a yes. Or, like all my friends moved to LA for school. They moved away to pursue careers in this field. I was like, I want to stay here. So when people come to the Bay Area, you're the first person people consider. And so now it's gotten to a point where people come to California and like, hey, I'm in LA, let's connect. I'm like, yo, you're like, 6 hours away. But that all stems from no one telling you no, because a lot of people have told me no.
When you say you deal with rejection well, how do you like walk me through the steps of processing rejection, compartmentalizing it so that you can really keep focused on your goal?
You've seen the documentary Last Dance with Michael Jordan?
Of course.
Okay. There's a part where he's like, I took that personal. Like
There's a few parts like that.
that's the best way to describe it for me. Like I look at certain things and it's like, okay, cool. Like that's how it is. I got it. And so because sometimes like just unfortunately there's obstacles, and like especially the last 5 years, the amount of obstacles that I've gotten, I realized like, oh, it's bigger than what's the moment. So I have to fight through like getting to prove certain things to show people. And so the thought process for me is like, you've spent money, you traveled, or people have hired you to do X, Y, Z. Are you going to stay here and complain and cry about it? Or are you going to find another way to do it? And so like a few years ago, I got hired to do a job, and it was the Killers, like the artist, the Killers. And so I'm going to shoot, and my team, like they're around shooting there in the pit. And so I think, I don't know if it's a role manager or someone, they were like, what are you doing? And I was like, I'm capturing the Killers, They're like, he looks at me, I was like, you can't shoot the Killers. Like, no, you can't do that. But I see my team in the pit shooting them. So it's like, why is it that my team, the guys that are working for me, can shoot, but I can't? And so I like went to the people that hired me, and they're like, what? Like, we spent all this money for them and we wanted you specifically. And so I like ended up maneuvering, and I went to like a balcony and I shot, and I like some lady's like holding a wine glass and it got in my way, but it made like this beautiful shot. And I was like, that's why.
That's what was supposed to happen.
Exactly. So that's what I'm saying. You handle rejection very well. And I would have never gotten that moment had I listened to, if I was in the pit, I probably had some other shots, but this was like a beautiful shot. I wouldn't want it any other way.
Rejection for a lot of people is debilitating, and it's sort of like this dead end road that then just ends everything. And also over time, the more and more that these things pile up, which is naturally going to happen with time, you're going to get more and more rejections over time. But I've seen in startups, for instance, the vast majority of the people that started doing startups when I started in 2009, they're gone. They're long gone.
Yeah.
There's so few of those people left. And in 2005, when I moved to the Bay Area, one of the things that always confused me was like, where are all the .com people? And then if you think about it, it's sort of obvious, even though they were part of these startups and run these big companies, and they got hit so hard with that wave of rejection.
Yeah.
And they got pounded so hard that the natural thing to do is to just give up.
Yeah.
It's the easy, I don't even want to say easy, like in a negative way. It's like, it's totally understandable that when you face such huge odds that you just say, I'm good. And most people, I think, can't process rejection very well. They can't process the failure. And even me, somebody that I think's probably on the side of like being able to process it pretty well, there's still failures and rejections that like I think about constantly.
Yeah.
And I think understanding your process of like how you think about it seems like you look at it very positively. You look at like, okay, I'm here. Somebody's in a roadblock. Maybe there's some other way that's actually I'm supposed to be.
Yeah.
Or there's something better
Mhm.
actually than what I was thinking. Does that sound right?
Absolutely. I mean, and well said. Because I think a lot of times, like, people find identity in what they do, they're not who they are. And for me, it's like, I love this. I do. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I'm consumed with it. Like, I have a lot of like, I've sacrificed so much of my life because I love this. But if it were gone tomorrow, it's not going to be the end of me. It's just a portion of me, And so I'm mindful of that. But I think a lot of times, like, people struggle with identity, especially in the Bay Area. I mean, there's so many people that come from all over the world and they're exposed to things that they've never seen before, and different opportunities, and feel if this doesn't happen, will people look at me different? Did I feel like a failure? And that's not necessarily the case. I've seen